Hi everybody. I'm here to teach you today about gesture drawing. This is a Drawing 101 class. We've already gone over still lifes, but now I want to get us into more figure drawing. I'm sure you're all excited. Did everybody bring their tools for me today?
Yes.
Yeah? And
Yes.
pen and paper? Did anybody not bring pen and paper with them? Nope, looks like we're good to go. So just keep those to the side. Try not, you can take notes for now, but make sure you're leaving a couple of those pages blank because we're going to need them to draw later. So something in the future that might work for you, I wanted to say in advance, is a way to time yourself, because what we're getting into is about timed increments, which is part of our objective. What we want to do is actually produce a gesture drawing within a time limit and using some of the knowledge we're about to acquire. Students are going to demonstrate that they can hold a pencil or the utensil in a certain way that will allow you to create quick and decisive strokes on a page. And students are going to reflect at the very end for your first gesture drawings. Next class, we'll get into drawing more, approximately 15 of them, 2 minutes long for the first half-hour class, and then we'll extend into 5-minute and 10-minute gesture drawings. So each time you're going to get better and better. So guys, what will you gain by learning how to draw a gesture drawing? Can somebody please tell me what a gesture is, or if you know what a gesture drawing is?
I don't know what a gesture drawing is, but making a gesture is some kind of movement to signal
Yes.
an action or a word or something. Sorry, I don't know how to describe it, but
No, movement was perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. A gesture is conveying some sort of movement. It has a mood. It has emotion. And when we bring it to a drawing, as you can see on our page, I want you to look at that first. I can't quite point at the screen, but on the left-hand side, we have one sort of smoky. That was just a first idea, an outline of where the shape of the individual is. But in the one on the right, the person who drew this, and one of your classmates from last semester drew this, he was starting to add the gesture, the lean from the posture. And on the far right, what we're trying to get to by the end of learning all of our gesture drawings is how to finalize your work and optimize the position of a person on a page. We want to make those compositions dynamic and strong, and we want to make sure that our art continues to get better and better as we go. So part of this is that it's a precursor to everything that you're going to do as an artist, and it's a warm-up in a way too. So if you're feeling rusty, even a day later after drawing, or 3 years from now you want to get started again, start with gesture drawing. It's going to pull out the best of you as fast as possible. So what is a gesture drawing? Sarah already said movement. They're approximately 5 seconds, 5 minutes, and do not generally run past 10 minutes. So when you're drawing a gesture drawing, you want to go into it knowing how long you have, because 30 seconds to 10 minutes means, oops, I only got the torso done. Or versus, oh, I got the line of a person outlined, and then if it hits 10 minutes, did you spend too much time on one part and not finish it, or did you finish it and then just start trying to fill in all the details, but the proportions are wrong? So on this slide, I want you to take a look at our David. Has anybody ever seen David before? I'm sure y'all have, right? So he's actually has a couple extra eccentric lines for us here. The 2 red across his chest are axis lines across his torso, trying to indicate the small movement that you can see in his torso. Contrapposto is the most popular stance that you will find in art, because it's one of the most common positions that we will stand in, and it also conveys a lot of power and elegance. Things that I want you to remember before, and checking for time, 11:13, things I want you to remember are rhythm. Rhythm is a principle of design representing, in this case, how the figure is flowing. A flow is the way you can see some of these hands moving in these images. Flow is the way that the body is leaning and brings us off the page or back into the page. You want the movement in your art to come back, to be able to jump off the page and lead the viewer around in a circle. We were discussing that with focal points in our still lifes before. down to start. I'm going to make these next slides a little quick so we can get over to our drawing board, and that will be first, the general length of the figure is important. Madeline, can you tell me why it's important to know what the length of the figure is before we go into drawing it?
So it looks proportional?
Yes, perfect. Okay, so we want to start with a reference line, and I'll indicate that during our drawing process. And then what we want to do next after that is go into the middle, the torso. Can somebody tell us why I would start with the torso and not the head? Maybe.
The same way, it's just to make sure like you have room for the head and the legs.
That's right. You want to start in the middle because it's going to tell you where it sits on the page. So we already know the proportion of it on the sides of the page from the reference line, but in the middle, you want to know where everything else is going to fall. But part of it is also because our torso holds most of the motion. And something I want you to keep in mind, whether it's male or female, if a person is leaning to the side, the one side isn't going to disappear. It's going to compress. The flesh is going to have folds. I don't care how skinny one of our models are going to be. There's going to be compression of that space because we're a volume. We are a shape. They're a three-dimensional shape that fits within space. So I want you to make sure that you're not deleting that part of the torso as you go. So the next part would be the head and the neck, and that's to block out where. Sorry, you want to keep it in a block shape, and that's to block out the length of the upper half, because from the top of your head to the bottom of your pelvis is actually equal length to the floor from your pelvis to your feet. So then we're going to work on adding the legs, because in a gesture drawing, our legs tell us quite a lot more information. If you could see on the bottom left of the slides, this is David, one of the models. He likes to perform with axes and fishing poles, so you might see him in one of our later classes. Don't be alarmed. He has a very stoic idea of what it means to be a model. But as you can see, his legs are pointing to left. There's some contrapposto occurring, and equally on the right-hand side, he is setting his weight dead on both legs. I would like to move on to the arms and the details, and I want you to remember that those are last. The arms and the details are what the final touches to tell us the last bit of information for where the movement's going, because the torso tells us the movement, the head to the torso, the head and the neck tell us the length of the legs tell us the overall movement of the gesture, and where they're going to go off the page, and the arms are just accentuating that. Now, I said before, somebody said gesture is movement. I want you to remember that you can exaggerate that movement when we work on it. So let's go over to our second camera. Give me a second. And share. You'll all have to tell me if you see it. So let's see. Okay. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Jessica,
Yeah.
can you please tell me, when you're looking at these images, do you think this individual started with a reference line?
I think the first one looks like they started with a reference line, but as they go further, it seems they had some challenges with proportions, maybe?
That's accurate. I feel that this line represents the reference line. So as they went through, but what you want to make sure you're doing is following all the way through the figure. So you create one straight line through the figure, and then you're going to want to create additional lines fanning out for the idea of the actual gesture. So reference line and then gesture lines. So these were approximately 2-minute drawings that all coincided in the same time with the same model. This is the same artist who created this work, not me, one of your old classmates. And this is an example of 5-minute, 5-minute, and 10-minute drawing. So does everybody see the difference between your first drawing to maybe your last drawing, even within a half-hour period? What's the difference between the first one and the last one? Somebody new who hasn't spoken yet. Maybe Michelle.
Okay. One's forward, one's backward.
Well, that's true. But what about the quality? Do you think they're gonna...
I'm so bad at this, like looking at art and stuff. Like I'm the one person that's terrible. So maybe the elbows extend it in the last one, but it's kind of not really in the first one.
How about look at that head for a second compared to the rest of the body and the legs. Doesn't it seem a little off compared to this figure? Doesn't it seem a little bit larger? I feel like his head is at least maybe 3 times the size it should be. Like the arms just aren't matching. So my point for this is that we don't have to worry from the first drawing to the last what it looks like. I just want you to get those lines on the page. So let's go into, oops. I'm going to grab some charcoal, and you guys can join in on one of your pieces of paper if you like. I don't know what kind of supplies you have sitting there, but I want to give her a go. This is Jessica. She's an ice skater that I photographed a while ago, and we'll be working from live models in future sessions, but I'm going to quick go through this, and you can draw along with me, okay? Where am I going to start? Madeline?
Torso.
Torso? But I'm forgetting something. What am I
The
forgetting?
line.
Your line.
Line. All right, her line is actually curved a little bit. So I'm going to pull in and just kind of give a little zigzag because she's somewhat pushing forward. She's pushing forward and she's pulling back on the page. So next part, right? That was torso.
1 minute.
1 minute? Oh, that was quick. So as you're working with me on this, what do I put? We're going to try to make this 30 seconds here. So you're going to come in and add the torso. Then you're going to go to where the head is, make it a blocked out shape, add the neck. Here's an axis line and another axis line for her shoulders, which are at an odd angle. Then you want to add in the legs to convey where she is standing. And notice that her feet are at different levels because of perspective. So we'll play with that later. Foreshortening is something we're learning in our next lesson, but I want you guys to work on putting strokes on the page. Please note that my hands are, I'm not holding it like a pencil. And even if you're holding a pencil, try pinching it between your fingers. And because as you go, you can use your wrist more. Drawing is easier. This type of drawing is easier done if you're letting yourself flow as you go through each stroke. So is everybody drawing right now?
Yes.
Okay, good. I want a quick look-see of what you might have done. That was about a 30 seconds. Can you hold it up to the screen for me? Oh, fantastic. Okay, so can somebody quick comment on, we'll go with Sarah. Sarah, hold yours up again. Okay, can somebody see?
I'm not sure what this is all here, but
It might be the hair, but you have a good reference line. You have a good start to torso. You have the lean of where the legs are to convey the movement. So that's a great 30-second drawing. And in our next exercise, we'll continue it on to 2. So what is she going to have to add after when she starts hitting into her next movement? Anybody have an idea what are the next details she's going to put on this? What is she missing?
like the chest and arms and fingers and
yeah. So her arms need to be fleshed out more because that's great. That's a great gesture line, but then we're going to flesh it out and then we're going to add some details to the face. So what my whole goal is for you guys by the end of this lesson, well, our next lesson, is to get to this point. And I made you bigger, so is to get to this point. 20-minute drawings, so you can really flesh out what your gesture is and really work on foreshortening and just speeding up how you do your work. The whole goal is for you to become faster and better at pretty much mathematically making calculations in your head to get it onto paper. So we're going from 3D to 2D, and in this online class, it'll feel a little more 2D. So we're going to use models in the future. But we have to finish up. So I'm just going to share a few references on my slide for you. Here we go. Here it is. Sorry. Oh, it stopped sharing. That's interesting. Share. So these books, can everybody see that? That book is one of the best reference materials that you can use. I want you to look at that for a homework assignment before we come back for our next class. And again, we're going to be working on 2-minute drawings. So, all right, thank you for your time. Have a good day.